is the Property Talk brought to you by Royal Mabati. Royal Mabati do not only give you quality iron sheets, but they actually also deliver the iron sheets right to your location site, right here at our makeshift studio at the Nina Interiors, where, remember, we make sense of the real estate industry. Now, we all know that we've been speaking to a number of stakeholders, and as far as the landlord tenants bill is concerned, and to all of your viewers, we've had our say, and the conversation is ongoing until we know that we've gotten to a place of stability and a place of consensus to which we know we're moving in the right direction. To understand a little more about this bill is a face that many of us already know. I would say the magnet that holds things together in the Power Knight Frank brand. It's good to have you on the side.
Thank you, Edwin.
Now, Judy, you've been around for a couple of years, and I was off the set, I was just asking a question. How old is Knight Frank? And in Uganda, it's 18 years.
Yes, it is.
And globally, it's
122 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That means a lot. Now, straight to business. In as far as the big picture of real estate is concerned, I know that the president of this country and the government is very keen on moving our economy towards a middle-income status economy. And I always say the same thing, that middle-income status economy, we've got to sort out the issue of real estate. Otherwise, we have less room on the table to discuss development and growth when we've not addressed that. And I was just trying to look through the articles that have come from your office, from your person. What caught my eye, of course, was this particular story that has the title, A Bill Unfit for an Act. Let's start from that. A Bill Unfit for an Act.
Good evening, viewers. As you're aware, there's been a proposed amendment to the Act that has been put forward by. It came under the auspices of the Ministry of Housing, and there were several proposed clauses in the bill. Unfortunately, they were not really fit for an act, and hence why I chose that heading or that title, because I feel it hadn't been well thought through. They had not consulted the professionals or the experts in that field to get their input in order for them to put together legislation that will stand the test of time, and hence where that title came from.
Yes, dollar versus shillings. It's a very, very huge subject that's been here, by the way, even before this whole bill came up. There's been that discussion before on the dollar versus the shilling. From one perspective, you'd think actually it makes some great sense to the locals and to the individuals in Uganda and all that. Where was the problem with this majorly?
Well, I believe the issue was first brought up by a group of traders under the auspices or the umbrella organization called Casita. They felt that they were being charged unfair rents. The rent escalations or rental increments were erratic. Landlords would wake up in the morning and decide they're going to treble the rent or double the rent. And the landlords were taking advantage of this and actually pegging the shilling rental to the dollar. Not all the tenants downtown are paying dollar rentals. They're paying shilling rentals. But what is happening is the landlord is taking advantage, okay, and just escalating it with every depreciation of the shilling, they're escalating their rent, which is very unfair. And we sympathize with them, and we totally agree with the fact that they're agitating and would like to see some change. But the issue is not really about the dollar versus the shilling. That is not the crux of the matter with discussion to this bill. I will discuss it briefly. For a developer that has developed their property using dollar on the back of a dollar financed loan, okay, if they borrow at 7%, okay, and they'll borrow $20 million to build their property, they sign undertaking based on the rental income that's going to come from that property when it's built and completed, and it is from that income stream that they're going to repay their loan. Now, if you're telling them that you've borrowed at 7% on the dollar, but you must charge shilling rentals, okay, to cover a dollar-backed financed property, then it's not going to work, because they would have to charge maybe 3 times the amount of shillings, okay, to reach the average flow-through rent on the dollar to be able to meet their repayments. Now, it can't work that way. And you see, in as much as you're saying landlords stop charging shilling rent in dollars and charging shillings, what happens to their agreement or their undertaking with the bank?
Yes.
So it needs to be a holistically looked at or viewed challenge or problem, and a solution to match that. You know, you can't just get up in the morning and change one bit of legislation without talking to the financiers and saying to them, how can we make borrowing on the shilling more affordable? If you're borrowing at 25% on the shilling, it doesn't make any sense to borrow in shillings when you compare it to the 7% on the dollar. That's the first issue. The second issue is you've got a lot of foreign direct investment that is interested in investing in Uganda, okay, in the real estate sector. Now, obviously, their funding or their financing is going to come in dollars. So if you tell them to start working their financial models in shillings, they will not be able to track their returns consistently or accurately on the back of a shilling rental when they're investing in dollars. So, and they don't really want shilling returns at the end of the day. They're investing in hard currency. They would like to see a hard currency return. So what is the solution to this? It's an open market. It's a free market that is determined by demand and supply. Okay, there are some areas whereby dollar rentals will not be feasible. And you'll find that the market dictates that. If the tenant is not able to afford the dollar rent, they won't have an issue. The bill as a whole needs to make sense.
So number one, the key factor here, there needs to be ample time given to the hearing on the issues being brought up, and there needs to be inclusion of the key stakeholders that actually affect or are playing in the real estate industry to contribute towards this. As we get to the tail end of this conversation with Judy, if you're on social media platforms right now, Property Show Uganda, you can be able to actually send in your question or comment, or follow us on Twitter, or as well get onto our website and chat room and share your views with us, or send your text question. I know that this is a recorded show, but we'll be able to submit your questions to her, probably have them in the Homes magazine. Also, just to remind you, in June we have our first Property Show bus tour, so get to register with only 20,000 Uganda shillings, so you can be able to appreciate what's happening in the real estate sector. The people behind this, were they this naive, or what was happening? So how did we end up actually here?
Okay, look, I must give credit to government. I think the intention was very good because there is a need to regulate the market down there. There is the need to regulate the relationship between the landlords and the tenants. Unfortunately, I think it was hurriedly done.
Our conversation with Judy can not continue right now in the interest of time, but tell you what, this interview shall continue next week, and there's a lot more that we will be getting to hear from her. I mean, she's been quite around for a while to understand the industry and our real estate markets much better than many of us can. So next week, stay tuned for the same interview continuing.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited has been making quality roofing materials since 2005. Our roofing materials are built to industry standards and have passed all rigorous constructors certifications and testing. We give our customers a 15-year warranty on all our Mabati products. With a varied range of products, our Mabati profiles are cutting edge and employ the latest designs. Royal Mabati prides in being the only roofing manufacturer that offers free delivery services up to customers' site. Royal Mabati Factory Limited, making beautiful roofs that last long.